cinema, and he joins us now. Hi, Tom.
Hello there. It's been a very exciting evening here. The Ziegfield Theatre has really been ground zero for Star Wars fans. I'm with a bunch of them from Britain. Earlier, before the screening started about 2 hours ago, there were scenes of near pandemonium. We had characters from the film who were dressed up outside the cinema, jumping on top of the track. You can hear that there's still some very excited fans who are trying to interrupt our broadcast. But it really has been an amazing night for Star Wars fans. It's really the high point of what they've been waiting for. Some of them have been waiting for 16 years for this event. So it's really been something that they've all wanted to come to. They've been camping out here for days. I'm now actually with, as I mentioned, a group of about 8 fans from Britain who've come over specially. Well, fellas, tell me, what is your instant verdict on this movie?
It was one of the most fantastic films I've seen in a very long time.
How about you? Can I move on to you and ask you?
Well worth the wait. I mean, we've been waiting, 20 years for it? So, yeah, excellent.
What did you like about the film in particular?
The special effects, the characters, especially Darth Maul. I thought he was fantastic. I mean, as a villain, number one, he beats Darth Vader now.
He's better than Darth Vader.
Better than Darth Vader.
Tell me, what was the atmosphere inside the cinema? Because obviously outside we've got the impression of a lot going on. What was it like inside the auditorium?
It was madness. Never seen anything like it. I mean, like I said, we came all over from London to watch it here and to get in with the crowd, and wow.
What were your thoughts inside the cinema before the film began? What was going on?
They were just waiting for it to start, and once it started, it was just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Did it live up to all your expectations? Because a lot of the critics in this country, they haven't been too full of praise for this film, have they?
No, it's pure Star Wars. I mean, they didn't like Star Wars, they didn't like Empire, they didn't like Jedi, but it's aimed to entertain people, and it was very entertaining.
What about the story? Some people said the story is a bit weak. Would you agree with that?
The story is basically just a setup for the next 2 films. I mean, introduce the characters, the plot lines for the next few films, and in doing so, it's done what George Lucas said he was going to do. He's going to set up the next 2 films, which is fantastic.
A lot of people have said that this is a film which is targeted mainly at young people. Would you agree with that? By young people, I mean young teenagers.
Yeah, it's basically bringing in the character like Jar Jar Binks. It targets a younger audience as opposed to the sort of older, more mature audience.
Let me ask you a question. You've come all the way from Britain for this event to see a movie. Haven't you got to be a bit touched in order to do that in a way?
It's Star Wars.
Star Wars, we all saw it as kids, and we thought, I think George Lucas has done it for us just as much as he has for newer, younger fans.
And I gather that quite a large number of Americans are going to be taking the day off work today to see this film. Do you think it's good that the film should induce that kind of absenteeism?
Definitely. I mean, we've taken 2 weeks off work now to get out here, so it's worth every penny. I'll say George has definitely done it with Darth Maul, though. He's probably one of the, he had presence. The moment he came on the screen, the oohs and ahs and the wows were everywhere, and you could feel the excitement around you. It was absolutely superb, but he's not as good as Vader.
All right, I've got to stop you there. The verdict in New York seems to be a big thumbs up for this new Star Wars movie. Of course, we are speaking to die-hard fans. Not everyone's going to be as enthusiastic. It looks like this film will break box office records, at least in its first few days of business. So, with that, back to you in London.
Tom, thank you very much. Tell them there's some good museums and art galleries in New York as well. Shut up the next 2 films. Oh, terrific.
First night in London. It's been called an anarchic circus show, a carnival, rave and even a riot act. But Gullah Gada is like nothing you've ever seen, and what's more, it defies description, because you don't watch this show, you experience it.
There are some things that you can't explain. When you have like one people United States, some fans have been queuing outside cinemas for weeks to get the first look at the Phantom Menace. And they've been screening the film throughout the night, and reporter Tom Brooke is outside the Ziegfield Movie Theatre in New York. Good morning to you, Tom.
Good morning. The Ziegfield Theatre here in New York has really been ground zero for Star Wars fans. They've shown previous Star Wars films here in the past, and over the last few days this month we've had people camping out here waiting to get tickets. Now, before the third screening began at about midnight local time here tonight, there were scenes of real pandemonium outside the movie house here. You had people who were dressed up in Star Wars outfits, stormtroopers who were jumping around on vehicles and having a lot of fun, basically. This has really been an incredibly exciting evening for Star Wars fans. Some people have really waited, 16 years for this film. And I'm with a group now who's actually travelled across the Atlantic, a group of fellows from Britain. Well, tell me, first of all, what did you make of this movie? What was your first impression?
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I thought all the characters were there, the music, everything associated with Star Wars was in this film. The effects were fantastic.
Did it live up to expectations?
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Now tell me a bit about the mood. What was going on inside the cinema? After all, this is one of the biggest events for a Star Wars fan when you got in there tonight. What was the atmosphere like?
It's amazing. It was outside, it was the same inside as it was outside. Everyone was flying around with lightsabers, cheering, clapping. And when the Star Wars came up on the screen, it's electric, amazing.
Let me move on to you. You tell me, what was it like inside the cinema when you first got in there? Can you describe it for me?
The atmosphere was electric. I mean, I saw the openings of the press editions over in London. They had a great vibe, but there's a real event here today, you know. It's a great atmosphere. All the fans are really up for it.
Well, we have an American interloper with us, a man who is dressed as, I suppose the real mean guy in this film. You're Darth Maul. How was the film for you? What did you think of it?
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It had everything I could have hoped for. Great action, all the characters, and it was just leading up to, you could feel what was going to happen, but it still didn't give away too much. I think it was just really great.
How does it compare with previous Star Wars films? Because the view of critics in this country is that it's a bit of a disappointment in a way. Would you agree with that?
I think in a way it's setting up the other two movies, like the first Star Wars film did. It's really set up the other two, and I think in a way, because of I guess time constraints or something, it's all very bitty. You can't really get into the scenes. And so in terms of plot, I think you maybe have to develop the second two a bit more.
What about the British actors in this movie? Liam Neeson, did he do a good job?
I think Liam Neeson was absolutely fantastic. His presence throughout the whole film was really good. Ian McGregor perhaps a little more. I don't know if he had enough of a world to develop it throughout the film, but Liam Neeson was fantastic.
One of the things that I've heard is that in the previous films we had characters who we could really latch onto, human characters like Han Solo played by Harrison Ford, Princess Leia. They weren't really in this film, were they?
No, you've got to get to know the characters, I think. I think George Lucas rocks, but he needs to develop the characters a bit more in the next two films. And then we'll get to feel the same way about them as we do about Luke, Han, Chewie, and, the rest of them.
Let me ask you a question. A lot of people would think that you would need professional help, you guys, coming all over across the Atlantic from London to see a film in New York. I mean, what is it that would make you do this?
Like I said earlier, it's more about an event. I mean, the whole vibe, like you said, how it was in the cinema, that was what it was all about, the great atmosphere, and all the fans were really devoted to it.
So it's been worth it coming from London?
It was, it's been a fantastic trip, yeah.
Well, as you can tell, the verdict here in New York for this new Star Wars movie is a big thumbs up, but we're with die-hard fans, as you can tell. But you can imagine this film is probably going to break box office records, at least in its early stages, but it probably won't outdo Titanic overall. So with that, back to London.